As a meteorologist, I've been reporting more and more often on extreme weather headlines like these. But these storms on steroids are actually the result of climate change. Let's look at how one of Canada's most naturally diverse provinces, British Columbia, will change in just 3 decades. Now, we could show you the worst case scenario if we do nothing to curb our greenhouse gas emissions, or the best case scenario if everything goes according to the Paris Agreement plans. But let's stick to a middle of the road scenario. Temperatures have risen by an annual average of 2.5 degrees in BC. In the interior and the north, there's even larger variability. Vancouver sees more than double the number of days above 25 degrees than it did in the 2010s, and about 15% less rain in the summers. The growing season in the Lower Mainland has expanded by 6 weeks. There's a 30% drop in frost days in the Okanagan Valley by 2050. That means winters aren't cold enough to keep the pests at bay. By 2050, we'll be facing more fires and more disasters like the wildfire that ripped through Fort McMurray, Alberta, destroying homes and displacing nearly 90,000 people. The fire season may increase by 30 to 50 days in the interior. Our seasons play out differently too. Warmer, wetter winters across the province have meant our snowpack has dropped dramatically year after year. By 2050, a quarter of BC's glaciers have melted. Hitting the slopes has become a rare luxury. And that has big implications for our water supply. We will see more rain. The rainiest day of the year could be 10% wetter. But even though there is less snow and more rain, it's coming too fast. The spring melt is sudden. Flash floods and mudslides are an even greater risk. Pineapple Express soakers from the Pacific will come much more often and hit harder. And a warming ocean means that sea levels have risen by 30 centimeters in 2050. If we don't spend billions of dollars on infrastructure to protect our coastal communities, places like Richmond, the Vancouver International Airport, the Tsawwassen Ferry Terminal will all be underwater after just one bad storm. Parts of Vancouver's iconic seawall need to be rebuilt, and beaches like Wreck Beach and Jericho have washed away. Fish species have had to migrate dozens of kilometers north every decade as their traditional territories become too warm. Like your sushi, Pacific salmon catch may decrease by 30% by 2050. Here are some economic figures to consider. If we do absolutely nothing, the projected cost of damage to BC because of climate change is $32 billion. It would cost us $10 billion, however, to upgrade our infrastructure like dikes and levees to protect against that $32 billion price tag. We'd still be ahead by $22 billion. 2.5 degrees might not sound like a huge increase, right? But it means that the extremes we're seeing now will become the new normals in just 3 decades, and that has huge implications for how we build our cities, what we grow, and the natural biodiversity of our province. But how well we fare in 2050 and beyond depends on what we do today. Check out the full podcast and the digital series 2050 Degrees of Change in the links below.